Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. I believe it's the final Friday of March 2026. I am Sonia. This is B8, our producer extraordinaire, and my sole co host for tonight. Friday with the Fellaz James is having a sabbatical tonight. He's taking a little reprieve, but you guys can catch him in the morning on the debate show with him, Brian, and Jack Hirsch. And right now, y'all, we know how we do is got to give out the shout out for Pink Fanfur, realist, real creator out there. Thank you so much for the real. And I am over here trying to share this live. I never have enough time to share it to all my groups before I have to come on live. So when you see me looking down, it's not that I'm looking at notes or anything. I'm trying to just make sure everyone is on. So welcome to the YouTube affiliates. Welcome to all the social affiliates. And B, how are you doing today?
Good, good, good. It's Friday. Watching some games. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in sports. You got
Yeah,
the
we got the
NCAA men's tournament and women's
yep,
tournament,
yep, had
and you have baseball and
MLB
basketball.
opening day. Yep,
Yeah.
opening day was a couple of days ago. Right now, the Braves are playing. That game is on a commercial. Duke just tied up with St. John's. Yay, 65-65 right now. As it is in the second quarter. I've got to put my glasses on sometimes. But anyway, the Michigan Alabama game is on a break right now on halftime. But yeah, definitely this time of year is the busiest time of year it is. But before we get into March Madness, because these games are ongoing, congratulations to Damar Hamlin, re-signed with the Bills today for 1 year. I'm so excited to see that they're bringing him back. Since 1967, I'm going to give you guys a little fact here. The same city, Detroit, B, you'd be interested to know, hasn't had an NFL and NBA rookie of the year in the same season. Charlotte could actually achieve that this time with us getting Tetarero McMillan for the Panthers, and now Con Knuppel is on track to be Rookie of the Year for the NBA. So, congratulations to the Carolinas as a whole. You know, everybody knows it's South Carolina, North Carolina, but they're both teams are situated in Charlotte. But congratulations to both of them. Definitely hoping they can get it done. And a little bit of weird news today, B. Looks like Tiger Woods has had another accident. They said he was acting lethargic at the accident scene, all kind of things, and he actually did not perform a field sobriety. So they have cited him with driving under the influence. Now we know this is not Tiger's first solo car accident. He had one a few years back, came out of it okay, but I really don't know. You know, they always say mental health is very important, but the fact of the matter is he showed signs of impairment at the scene, according to law enforcement, and he actually this time struck another vehicle and then rolled his Land Rover. So he flipped it after he hit another vehicle. He was arrested on suspicion of DUI because of his conduct, and the Martin County Sheriff's Office said he was not injured. So that was breaking this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to say to that. I mean, the dude he's a DUI guy waiting to happen all the time anyway when he drives. I don't understand what he thinks about. The last time he got in an accident, there was suspicion of him drinking. Stop drinking, Tiger. What the hell?
Yeah. Not sure what's going on with Tiger. That's what I'm thinking, like there may be some type of, I hate to say it, but it's probably mental health issues. He's been on a lot of issues with his back over the years. I'm sure he's had to go under some pain management for that. With golfing, for as old as he is, of course, Tiger's about to turn 51 here coming up in June. And this is just a sport, you know, unfortunately, even golf, even though it's supposedly relaxing, you know, the curvature of your back over repeated cycles, practicing everything, it has to take a toll. So we wish Tiger well with the judicial process as well as whatever he's going on with physically. Another to cross over to that same segment, NFL safety Tyrann Mathieu actually came out on a podcast and said he attempted to beat drug tests by combining bleach with Coca-Cola after following advice that he found online, later acknowledging it was a serious mistake. He said he Googled it and basically he tried it and he felt like his entire insides were erupting. It's really weird. This is according to the Bayou podcast. I mean, that stuff is lethal. First of all, Coke fizzes. And if you're talking about with bleach, you're talking about basically making a science project with an erupting volcano. Like, oh my goodness, he could have unalived himself.
The stupidity that people have just amazes me. But I would actually say it would amaze me. But this day and age, it seems like stupid is the thing. Because, first of all, bleach and Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
What is the common denominator there that you shouldn't even be ingesting? Bleach.
Yes.
Why would you ingest bleach? I don't care if you're mixing it with Coca-Cola. It's bleach.
Yeah.
Come on, have some
Anything,
common sense.
The Coca-Cola was an additive that actually caused it to be more, it was like a catalyst. It could have made it way worse than what it was. So just a couple of plugs there. Of course, Major League Baseball opening day right now. The Braves are down 4-8 in their game right now, but baseball season is upon us, B. I mean, it's a long season, but it's here. After a 0-7 start for the season, Aaron Judge smashed a 2-run lead homer today to lead the Yankees over the Giants 3-0. Notably, the home run came right after Judges successfully challenged a strike call using a new automated ball strike system. We talked about that using AI. Yeah. The Dodgers are continuing to look like a juggernaut, beating the Diamondbacks 8-2. Kyle Tucker recorded his first hit and RBI in a Dodgers uniform. Congratulations to him. And 16-year veteran and 5-time Gold Glove winner Jason Hayward officially announced his retirement today. So big, a little bit of news, even in the first couple of days of MLB opening week, we should say now. Congratulations to all of them. And hello to everyone coming on.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
The Yankees were the inaugural team to open the MLB season on Wednesday, followed by 22 teams on Thursday, and then the remaining amount of teams are joining the other 22 teams to play today. So, it's getting off to a good start. My Tigers are won a game already. They're fixing to play at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at San Diego. So San Diego, by the way, is not moving. They're they're selling the team, but the sales is not going to put them out of San Diego. They're going to stay in San Diego, so that's good for the Padres. Yes. I was kind of thinking like, nah.
Yeah,
what's up, Marcus?
So many teams in California. Hey, bro, what's going on? So many teams in California. They're trying to find other places for them. Little bit of NBA news. Steph Curry is still sidelined. Will miss tonight's game against the Wizards. He's now missed 20 straight games with that knee injury, and the Warriors are being cautious with his return as a play-in race tightens. I mean, you could tell that he is the leader of that team, and because the Warriors have done so much trading around within the last few years, he probably is likely the last key element of the team. And it's like, if he's missed 20 straight games, what type of condition would he even be in to return to try to get them to continue to stay in the race?
I'm not really worried about Steph because he's pretty much he's a veteran. He knows his body by now and what he can do when he comes back from an injury or anything that he tweaks. So I'm not really worried about him not performing once he comes back. Steph is one of those amazing players in the NBA. He come back and, normal basketball players, average basketball players will come back and they might average 10, 15 points a game. And when they come back from an injury, might score 2 to 10 points, maybe not any. Steph will just be up there busting 30 on you and you don't even know it's at the end of the game. He's just a great player. So I'm not worried about him coming back. But they also had another player go out for the rest of the season with a ACL injury. He's done. Another guy that was keeping him in games too. So he needs to come back. Steph needs to come back before Golden State just drops right the heck out. So he needs to come back and get him some wins. because they're not playing well at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And another key player, SGA, is out. The Thunder are resting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander tonight against the Bulls due to an abdominal strain that he's been suffering. They're trying to manage the pain with that. And so this is the time of year, it's a lot of basketball that has to be played. It's just like football and any other sport. These players are athletes and the body has to rest. It's kind of like at some point it's not mind over matter because you are playing these tough, physical, demanding games, and the fans, all of us, we see it, but we don't feel it. So it's very important for him to rest and recoup. So we wish both of them the best getting back to that. Little NHL plug here. Alex Ovechkin continues his chase, netting his 34th career hat trick as the Capitals beat the Mammoth 7-4 in Los Angeles. Cam Cooper earned his 39th career shutout in a 4-0 Kings win over the Canucks. So congratulations to those two teams. And switching over to the WNBA is going to be expanding. The league actually announced the expansion draft for new teams in Portland and Toronto, which will take place on next week, April 3rd. So I'm really excited about that, but I'm hoping, B, that they get the type of support and fandom that they should get, because we just still, even we see the Caitlin Clarks, we see the Aja Wilsons, we see the Aaliyah Bostons, and of course Angel Reese and things like that, but we still don't see the teams that don't have those ladies or those star caliber players getting the type of attendance that that we think they should. Now, of course, Flage Johnson coming from LSU. This was her senior year. They're still in the playoffs, the Lady Tigers, but she will no doubt be going into the WNBA herself. Perhaps maybe she would land at one of the newer teams, because I don't know what the solve would be to get the viewership up or the attendance up. And now they're talking about expanding these teams, B.
Yeah, they just finished ratifying their CBA. So hopefully that everything goes good for the WNBA. And that's good. I mean, I'm glad they got that done, because they wouldn't have a season. The season was on a brink if they didn't get this contract done with the players. So it was ratified. I think it was officially ratified a couple of days ago. I think Bo said it was a couple of days ago they ratified it. Also, the Connecticut Sun are moving to Houston. Mm-hmm. So the Houston area will have a WNBA team. So that'll be good for Houston. Bad for Connecticut, but it is what it is. And pretty soon you're going to add a couple more teams, and one of them being Detroit. Detroit will have the Shock back. They'll be able to use that name again as well. So yeah, so it's a slow amount of expansion that they're doing. Also, the NBA is expanding. I guess, what was it? Seattle and Las Vegas, I think, are getting teams.
Yes.
So yes. So that'll be, and hey, and the Supersonics, they can retain. Hopefully, they can retain a name. That's still up in limbo. But if they get Seattle back again, all you guys that are Washington fans that live in Washington State, there are kind of PO'd about the fact that they took Seattle away from you guys. Now you got a reason to watch basketball again, because you got the Seattle Supersonics. And by the way, the big push for that was with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. They led the charge in getting that team back into Seattle. So that was good for them.
Yeah, very, very good for them. And, like we said, congratulations to the Seattle fans. They've been moaning and crying about the Supersonics since they left for a long time. And, us East Coast people, we don't get that. We're just like, okay, find a new team. It happens. And it has been happening. But for some reason, I guess, Supersonic fans and Seattle fans, Washington fans as a whole, I guess they think they're a little different. So kudos to them. We'll see how their team looks. Hopefully they are able, excuse me, I can't get that out. Hopefully they are able to keep their name, because that would be really cool, if they're able to still retain that. I'm sure a lot of fans have been holding their place in line, just waiting to get an opportunity to actually bring out all their Supersonic gear. I'm sure they never tossed it or anything like that. All right, we're gonna switch on over to March Madness now. Let me start with the ladies because the Alabama game is about 4 points versus Michigan State. But shout out to Hannah Hidalgo. She breaks a record today. The Notre Dame star broke the NCAA single season record for steals during the Sweet 16 matchup against Vanderbilt today. And of course, the women's Elite Eight bound are now UConn, led by Sarah Strong's double cruise past the University of North Carolina. They are now home with their gents. 63-42, Tar Heels are out to secure an Elite Eight spot. Meanwhile, Illinois upset Houston. Now, that was a shocker. Kevin Sampson is already home, 65-55 in a defensive battle to move forward. Huge matchups are set for tonight and tomorrow, including games that are going on right now with St. John's and Duke. Duke right now has a 3-point lead, and it is the end of the second, 40-some seconds left.
Yeah, 40 seconds left, yeah.
77-74, and it's 15 minutes left in the Alabama-Michigan game. Alabama has pulled forward 9 points. High state games between South Carolina and Oklahoma, and Kentucky taking on Texas for the March Madness. And you will see myself or probably B look away because these games are on in our background. And we do want to make sure that we are bringing you up-to-date scores for those of you who may not have the opportunity to be in front of a television or may not have the opportunity to stream the scores or what have you. B, quick question. I'm always confused. Is this the end of the game for Duke, or is this the second half or second quarter? They do these.
This is the end of the game right here. There's 32.4
That's what I was wondering.
seconds left.
Okay,
with 77
because
and 77-74, 32.4 seconds.
Yeah, I have the score, but I'm always so leery about the about how they do the second. You know how to be like second half or second quarter. Like it's almost like they kind of switch. And Michigan's pulling ahead, 5-point lead now. And right now it's 32 seconds left. It's 14 seconds left in this Duke game. Duke has the lead by 3 points. I'm hoping they do not. They just fouled.
Well, they're on the
I really hate when they do that. I guess it saves them 1 point if they sink both free throws, but still.
Well, they're up by 3. Oh, that's a bad shot.
Yeah, it really is.
He's not a very good free throw. Caden's not a very good free throw shooter either.
Well, I'm going to hold my breath.
That was probably a good foul.
Everybody knows Duke is my team, so I'm going to be – I literally got on my Duke blue and everything tonight. Let's hope he at least misses one of these.
Yeah, and St. John's been shooting the lights out. Oh.
He made it. He made a free throw. Like, if any time there was to make it, and so now it's a 2-point game, and it's still a lot of time on the clock, 14.7 seconds.
Yeah.
And Marcus and I both are Duke fans. Let's see. He's going for the second one now. And looks like, and my TV may be a little wrong, looks like he missed that one. Yes. Great. All right. So Duke, honestly, all they have to do is really hold the ball. They look like they took a timeout. Again. Huh?
They can foul again. All they're going to do is foul. Yeah, they just fouled. The 9 seconds left to foul.
They fouled Duke. St. John's. I thought it looked like a timeout. It's a timeout.
Yeah, but they fouled them. Those 2 free throws coming.
For who?
For Duke.
Okay, that's great. All right. The Michigan is pulled all the way forward. Now they have 70 and Alabama has 57. This game is about to take off. They have gone on a 10-0 run.
That's what Michigan does in the second
Alabama
half.
just scored, so now it's a 10-point game. And the Duke game is now on commercial. But anyway, while we're waiting, of course, Texas only lost by 2 points, B. What a heartbreaker. To number 2 Purdue, though, 79-77. Purdue goes on to be 30-8. Texas was 21-15 for the season. Iowa beat Nebraska 77-71. Nebraska goes down. A lot of people had thought this was the year for the Cornhuskers. They are now done for the season. And then let's see, this game is back on, guys. Then Arkansas versus Arizona. Arizona gets it done 109-88. and they move on. Arizona, the number 1 seed out of that conference.
Yeah, it was.
Coming
It
up
was a
at
good game.
9:45, the Yukon Huskies will be playing. Okay, hang on. They're getting ready to do these. Looks like they're only giving him 1 shot.
No, they get 2. They got to make the first one, though.
I thought I saw him. I thought I saw him.
Well, they made a 3 throw, so it's 78, 50, 75 now. So they got to make the second one. I guess they missed one. Okay.
All right. That's definitely, now it is now back up to a 3-point lead. He made 1 basket. And St. John's has the ball back. They're going to, of course, go for a 3. Oof, they missed it. Thank God. And that is 1 second left on the clock. That's going to be game. That's going to be game. It's 1 point something seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
And they are, looks like almost kind of, they're having to inbound the ball. Maybe it's a turnover. Waiting for the seconds. But this is what Duke has been doing, and this is what scares me, B, while I'm waiting on them to play. They have played the last 3-4 games, they have played around and almost found out. And they've had to double down and come back. And there's a stat, every time Duke has won the March Madness, they have had to beat St. John in the process. There was a stat that came out about that a little earlier that they were speaking about. Let's see.
I kind of hate those stats.
Well,
that's really an irrelevant stat, to tell you the truth.
Well, you know, they're gonna say it. It's part of what makes the storyline more interesting, because they've never faced St. John's at this early in the series. Well, I won't want to say never, but it's been a while. And totally St. John's has not been to the playoffs since 1989, something like that.
99.
99. Yeah, it's been a while. And so they definitely, you know, need to go through here. Let's see the Boozer brothers. I don't see the dad tonight. I know he's there.
Yeah, he's there. He's there with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting there. They were cheering.
Well, that's his girlfriend.
Oh, is his girlfriend?
Yeah, he's not married to their mom anymore, but they still support the kids. So the ex-wife may be there. Both of the parents may be there.
And that is it,
he
folks.
was there with a girlfriend.
That is it.
Okay, let's see.
St. John's wins their game.
Let's see. They are lining up, and they just keep stopping this clock. There he is. I see him now. There's Mr. Boozer. They are doing their best to delay the inevitable. Like, y'all, come on, it ain't even a full second no more.
You're just delayed a little bit. It's over. So
all right. That Michigan-Alabama game, they're just sitting there. Okay, they're sending Cameron Boozer to the line. This is gonna be a guaranteed basket. One of the top scorers for Duke. Him and his twins.
No, he's only a 79% shooter.
That's game. 79-75 is gonna be the final here as they get ready to. Or it may be 80 because he's got another basket coming.
No, it's 78-75. That's how it's. Dang, he ripped his shirt.
Yes. All right. So as this time advances on, there is game. That's it. It's a wrap. And as a 30-plus year Duke fan, I am so excited. Everybody that knows me, that grew up with me, knows I've been rocking with Duke since 88. 87, 88 season. So I'm so excited to see that they're still in there. 80-75. That's so crazy. I was born in 75, started kindergarten in 80, and that's the final score. So congratulations to them Duke boys getting it done. Of course, UConn is tossing off here next at 9:45. And then Tennessee That game is coming up at 10:10. The Iowa game is coming up tomorrow at 6:09. I don't know how to come up with these games versus Illinois. And then Arizona versus Purdue is going to be at 8:49 p.m. tomorrow night. So Duke is going to the Elite Eight again against Rick Pitino. And everybody had talked about how difficult that would be to have such a regarded coach from not just college basketball, but NBA B that actually is, grandfathered into how this game goes. And for John Shire to get this done is definitely commendable. I mean, St. John is known to be a defensive team anyway, and they literally did play defensive. Went on a 10-0 run in the second half against Duke, and Duke had to really rally to come back.
Yeah, Caleb Brown came back for this game, and I think that was a little. See, he's getting interviewed right now. Yeah, he came back in this game and he put up some serious minutes in here. Without Caleb, they wouldn't have won this game. I'm gonna tell you right now. Caleb was doing a lot of stuff on the floor that he normally does for Duke, and it was really good. So, yeah, one by the skin of your teeth. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, Duke is in a very difficult bracket. They're probably in one of the most difficult brackets of the four. So it's gonna be they're gonna get tested every game they play. So whoever wins between Michigan State and UConn, look for them to be testing that too. They're gonna be tested. That's just that bracket has just got a lot of great coaches in there. I mean, Rick Pitino, dude is he's our legend. So and Shire, he's doing a very good job. Shire is doing a very good job at his coaching. He's doing an excellent job. So it's good. Yeah, they're gonna be fine.
Now, Alabama right now is playing Michigan, and they are missing their biggest star, Aiden Holloway. However, even though he's been removed from the team, a judge today actually cleared him to be able to travel and attend the game out of state. His playing status is not changed according to the school status. He's remaining suspended after that March 16th felony drug arrest as Alabama is taking on Michigan right now. When they asked him about whether or not he would travel to meet the team in Chicago at any point this weekend, an Alabama spokesperson told CBS Sports they are not expecting Aiden to be in Chicago this weekend. So even though the judge is saying he could go, that's a personal decision whether or not he will go. He will not be connected to the team whatsoever. But leading up to the 2026 NCAA tournament, the West Alabama Narcotics Task Force allegedly discovered 21 pounds, crazy, 21 pounds of vacuum sealed marijuana packaging material. And 2.1. I was like, 21 is crazy. 2.1 pounds of vacuum sealed marijuana and rolling tray in his Tuscaloosa residence. The 2.1 pounds of marijuana fell just short of the 2.2 pounds that are required for drug trafficking charges B. So whoever his last customer was just saved him at least another 7 years on whatever they're going to do, because they're still going to probably get him with distribution with that amount. Trafficking is hard. He was arrested and charged with first-degree marijuana possession and failure to affix a tax stamp, whatever that is, which are both felonies in Alabama. The tax stamp is a Class C felony, carries a punishment of 10 years in prison and a $15,000 fine maximum time. And authorities also found promethazine, a prescription sedative, at his apartment, and he's going to face additional charges because the medication was not written for him. So, I mean, this dude clearly had his coins going on. He posted this $5,000 bail bond that he got. And he's been away from the Crimson Tide for the entire March Madness run. 28 games played. He ranked second on their team with points per game, 16.8 and 3.8 assists per game B. And despite losing him, Alabama has still continued to roll through their first weekend of March Madness when they beat Hofstra and Texas Tech But tonight is their face real bite of reality, in my opinion, because without him there, Latrell Wrightsell is going to be the next person to step up. Now, he posted 55 points total so far in 2 of the March Madness matchups, but then LeBaron Philon Jr., excuse me, has also been advertised because he's been putting up points, 38 points, 19 assists. This game right now is a 9-point game. They're hanging in there, but I don't know how long they can hang when they don't have that, because this is a difficult ramping up that we've seen all the time. And I forgot, I went over my little time here. I know we got to go to commercial break. So B, I guess you'll cue that and we'll be right back.
Where am I? Okay. All righty.
And now we have a special thank you that we're going to close this for my niece. She wanted to do a thank you. We want to do this for a couple of weeks straight. So this will be her last thank you for everyone that supported her scholarship walk.
All right.
Hey everyone, it's Pearson. I'm so blessed to have been crowned 2026 Miss Jabberwock, and I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has supported me with fundraisers or just donations in general and everything, including my parents and also Sasha for using her platform and also helping me as well. Just thank you so much. All glory to God. Thank you.
And congratulations again to Pearson. Wanted to give an opportunity the first couple of weeks since she was crowned almost 2 weeks ago. It'll be 2 weeks Sunday. Wanted to make sure everyone had an opportunity to see that because there were so many of you that reached out, wanted to donate, and we really appreciate your thoughts, your finances, and just all the ways that you supported my niece as she was crowned Miss Jabberwock for the High Point, North Carolina alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So congratulations to her on that crown. And B, thanks for all the productions you do with all of that. So with him being out though, because Michigan State is your team. And
Michigan.
So yeah, just Michigan. Sorry.
Well, Michigan State's my team too, as long as they're still playing. As long as they don't, if they play each other, then Michigan's my team. But I cheer for all my teams from Michigan.
So. Oh yeah, Michigan State's playing tonight
against
UConn.
Should
so
be a
what
good
are
game.
Your thoughts on this game? You know, of course, it's going to be a big piece missing with him being there, but they're hanging in there despite him not being there. And kind of like what you just said, Duke would not have won without Cam Boozer. You know,
well, not Cam Boozer, the Caleb Brown. Caleb
Brown. Sorry, I'm always thinking Boozer is like their top, the Boozer brothers.
Yeah, Boozer wasn't the guy that really got anything. I mean, he played well. He had his 22-10. But the guy that was was Brown, or not Brown. Who was it? Evans. Isaiah Evans had 25 points and 4 rebounds. So he came up big, and like there was a couple of runs that St. John's went on, and he was a catalyst to stop them runs too. So he did a very good job defensively and offensively. So Isaiah Evans, let's give it to him because he had 25 points in this game. And he probably was the one that really did the most damage as far as point scoring is concerned. Like I said before, Caleb Foster, he had 11 points, but he was intricate in the game because of the fact of his presence as a leader. And that's what they needed. That's what Duke has been missing in the last couple games, and that's why games have been close here. St. John's is just a very well-coached team. So I expected the game to be pretty close. But when I heard that Caleb was going to be in there, I said, well, I think St. John's going to lose this one.
Yeah,
So-
Cameron Boozer, like you said, he had 22 points, 10 rebounds, but he just had his 34th double-double because he also had 4 assists. And then his brother, it was a significant difference with his contribution, but he did get 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, and he controlled the tempo late in the game. So he did have something to do with trying to slow down that defense against St. John's.
Yep.
Duke shot 45% from the field and relied heavily on that 12-4 run in the final 6 minutes. That's what helped them reclaim the lead because, as we said, St. John's went on a 10-0 out the gate as soon as the half was over with. But what does Michigan need to do to try to, retain where they are in this game to ensure that Alabama doesn't sneak up and come back on them? Because right now it's a 9-point game, and it's continued to be hovering around that point, that 10-9.
Again, I'm ahead of you. It's 11. That's 11 right now, but with 7:59 left. Michigan is just too big for this team. If Alabama's going to stay, and like every team Michigan's played so far, these teams are dependent on the three-pointer to keep them close in these games, which usually works. This is what Alabama was doing in the first half of this game. They were shooting a good three-point percentage, but in the second half, Michigan tends, because they're long, they're tall, and they're fast and talented, their defense kind of locks you up on the three-point line. So, okay, you want to shoot threes. Let's see what you can do if, we put you in the paint. And that's where a lot of teams lose it right there, because they got to work really hard against this defense in the second half. And Michigan just is relentless. They'll just keep coming at you. They're going to see what you're about in the first half. And in the second half, say, okay, we're going to put you to sleep now. So with 11-point lead, this is too much for Michigan right now as far as their height and their speed. Alabama's going to have to do a lot of three-point shooting to get back in this game. They got to get hot. That's what they got to do, in other words. So we'll see what happens. Michigan's up by 11. They got 8 minutes left in the second.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because and they're now on a break. But if you think about it, these teams that are having to play these back-to-back almost games with very little rest in between unless they're traveling, it's just extremely taxing on them. I know they're under strict regimen, bedtime and conditioning and things like that to a low degree before tip-off. But it's just a telltale sign of just the grueling taxation that this starts to take on the body. Like we said, now some of these teams traveling to Chicago, some of them are in DC right now. And so you're having to think of just where they are and what that looks like. While we are
just remember, I think that what made Texas so great too is they had to play 3 games in 5 days. They had to play the play-in game, and they had to play the next 2. That is really, yeah. And I think, and really, they didn't really look tired against Purdue. It's just that Purdue got the shot when they needed it, and Texas didn't get the rebound when they needed the rebound. So it was just that close of a game. But Texas I was surprised how well Texas played against Purdue, but they did a good job.
Yeah, and to see them in that Final Four position recently, back to back, and not to see them even go to the 8. I know Kevin Sampson is crushed, and I know that his family back in Robinson County, my home area, North Carolina, a lot of them are in attendance. They travel to support and everything, but I'm sure that they will be back. We're going to switch gears here. B, you could keep us posted on this Michigan game since that's your team as it comes available. I'll have it still in the background here. But let's talk about some more roster moves and signings in the NFL. I know it's been really quiet, but it still did occur. The Atlanta Falcons signing Tua Tagovailoa is official as of now, $54 million that Dolphins are already paying him. So the Falcons got him for cheap. They gave him a 1-year minimum deal. Not sure, and I'm interested on your opinion on that. What does that mean for the quarterback position for Atlanta, B? I mean, of course, Kirk Cousins has now been alleviated of his duties in Atlanta. Michael Penix Jr. has not fully recuperated, but they've anticipated saying he's going to be ready to go week 1. But you don't bring in a star like Tua Tagovailoa to just play number 2, or do you?
That's a win-win situation for Atlanta with their quarterback situation, which is something I would never thought I'd hear myself say. But with Penix and his problems with his injuries, I mean, Tua's not that far behind either. But at least Tua's got a little more veteran leadership there. And, of course, we don't know if Penix is going to start the season with his injury. So I think they got Tua as insurance. And they got him at cheap insurance. Miami's paying the bill, basically. So, they can keep – I've noticed a lot of these quarterbacks are going to these teams, and they're just, like Kyler Murray going to Minnesota. That's another one. He's getting paid. Yeah, he's getting paid for 1 year. And he's really getting paid by Arizona. He's not getting paid really by Minnesota because that's, they cut him loose. So I think it's good for Atlanta. I'm still not. The mindset is fine as far as the quarterback situation is. I just don't think that either one of the quarterbacks are really good. So we'll see what happens. The offense should be a lot better. When they haven't even gone to the draft yet. So we'll see what happens there because, they got rid of Tyler Algier. Well, Tyler Algier signed with the Cardinals, and then they just signed Robinson, who played with San Francisco last year.
Robinson.
So he should be he should be good. He should be good as a back. I don't think he's going to be Tyler Algier good, but he's a comparable running back to Bijan. So it'll be nice.
And along with Damar Hamlin being re-signed by the Bills, they have solidified their signing of DJ Moore. So they are definitely getting everything together while they are also getting the additions of free agents Geno Stone and CJ Gardner-Johnson to the Bills. I don't really want to put a lot of stock into the Bills because every year it just feels like, and I'm not even a Bills fan, but I like, the Bills just generally speaking. I like Josh Allen. It's kind of like we're just like, what would it take? Now they have gotten rid of their coach and they've moved around a lot of people. And last season, none of the main contenders were there. That was always their nemesis. And so I don't know what it would possibly take for the Bills to get their first Super Bowl. I'm going to go past the playoffs and just go all the way up to the Super Bowl. Bills fans have to be the most crushed fans in the league because they went 4 times in a row, and that is extremely difficult to do. And just to lose every single time is insane. And so that was in the 90s. Now we are 30 years past that. And I just don't know, B, even if with signing these people, I still feel like their biggest thing that's going to come back to bite them is firing Sean McDermott. I still feel like that's going to bite them because I still do not believe that he was the problem.
I think that people got to realize this. The defense was the problem for Buffalo. And they had a chance to win a lot of these conference just because of these conference games because of their offense. So Josh Allen was out there balling. It wasn't Josh Allen's fault. It wasn't really the offense's fault at all. But that game against Kansas City was a telltale sign that they should be building that defense up and not worried just about Josh Allen. Josh Allen's got nipped in the bud as far as the offense is concerned. You got to build that defense. 13 seconds it takes Kansas City to go down there and score and win the game. No, see that can't happen. That can't happen. And making rule excuses about it, it's not going to help you either. Your defense sucked when it needed to be good, and you got to get that defense good. So I don't know if I feel that Sean McDermott had ran his course as far as as getting to that point. And again, I always like to go to other sports as a kind of comparison like Rick Carlisle with the Pistons when they used to go to all the Eastern Conference championships and never win anything. It's the same thing with Sean McDermott. He can get you there. He just can't get you past there. And maybe Brady can get them past there now that they got a whole new thing going on in the, in their team. So didn't start off very good for Buffalo, though, with their coach and their head and their owner, kind of doing all kinds of dancing and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, you see, you're not making this any better for yourself. But they turned it around. They did a 180 on it. So we'll see what happens this season. I still think they're a pretty good team, and I think they can get to the Super Bowl. I think New England is going to have a down year in their division because they're actually going to have to play a number one schedule.
Yeah,
and it's going to be harder for them this year. So, and hopefully Will Campbell gets his stuff together and comes into the year fresh, so he's not the butt of the jokes next year, because he will be replaced. Believe me, Vrabel don't have no problems replacing somebody if they're not effective. So it'll be interesting season. I think the Raiders will be actually pretty good because their defense got way better, and then they kept Max Crosby, so that helped them out.
Now, see, even though you segued that, so the Bills did sign their single linebacker Bradley Chubb to a 3-year contract. But since you brought up Max Crosby, the Raiders general manager addressed the Knicks' feelings, the trade, the whole botched trade thing that would have sent him to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks. The deal fell through, of course, because of Baltimore's concerns about his knee injury. And he actually described it as one of the biggest roller coasters of his life, because you think he's going to get signed. He's not. Now he's back there. And then I still say, and I know James isn't on with us tonight, Max Crosby was not 1,000% happy. I don't know. Let's be clear. Nobody's 1,000% happy anyway. We're human. No one, you think you want something, even us, B. You think you want something. Then when you get in, it's just like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Why am I asking? And then you have to like reset your mind. Like, let's just be grateful that I got what I asked for. But you just never know what you're asking for. It's like biting off more than you can chew. And so now Max has to go back to this same team that this knee injury they're talking about. When he was out supposedly rehabbing and everything, he was putting up flicks and stuff on Instagram of him shooting hoops. Like there was nothing wrong. It was like sending a message. I mean, and I remember you saying that he didn't want out. Me and James basically thought he did want out. He supposedly got out. He looked happy in the transit of getting out. But then they said it was Cowboys were looking, like the Dallas Cowboys were interested in him. There were several other teams that were knocking on the door of him. And I wonder if, had he gone with one of the other teams, if they would have kind of made some type of provision for him, even with this knee injury that Baltimore wasn't going to accept.
I still think that he wanted to be a Raider. In fact, when he went to Baltimore, he said he was sad because he didn't think he gave the organization all he had. I was like, dude, it's not him. It wasn't him. This is the point. It wasn't him. This is I reserve this to the Monty situation here in Detroit. The dude didn't ask to be traded. Neither one of them asked to be traded. Neither one of them. And I'm telling you, well, just because he said he didn't want to be. No. If these players are bold as hell now, they are going to tell these teams if they want to be traded. It happens every day in the NFL. Come on. He didn't want to be traded. The Raiders didn't know the direction of their future right now. They got a new head coach. They got rid of the old head coach. He wasn't effective at all, and they thought they gave him enough pieces. They had an average, above average I'd say an average quarterback. Geno, that dude.
Geno has not been the same since he left.
Yeah, he's not been the same since he left Seattle. But it's, I don't know, man. I think it's the Raiders organization playing pinball with him. That's the point. And I would be kind of annoyed if I was Max. I'd be like, dude, do you want me to stay or do you not want me to stay? I told you I want to be here. What more do you want from me? That's all I'm asking. I don't know what you guys are doing, But the GM came out and said, well, I'm glad that we kept him and blah, 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 and blah, blah, this. I said, well, you should never even try to even trade him. And the mark came when the Ravens gave him back to the Raiders. And then they weren't taking any more offers for trades. And they had plenty of offers out there, but they weren't taking any more offers for trade. So it told me that they said, oh, my bad. We should keep Max and just pay him his money and stuff like that. Just don't worry about it, because they went out and they had a whole bunch of money to spend anyway. They spent most of their money on that defense. They got like a whole new linebacking crew, a couple of new corners. The defensive line got solidified. He's got a defensive end he's going to be paired with. So the defense got way better with him coming back. So I don't know what the Raiders are doing. Raiders are acting like the Cleveland Browns sometimes,
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, speaking of Cleveland, wow, B, are you like in my notes or what? I literally was about to go to the Browns next. Despite rampant rumors, Myles Garrett is staying, even though they're saying they're restructuring his contract. The Browns have been adamant today that they're not trading the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. So that's going to be interesting to see what this restructure looks like. And then let me put a small plug in. I do really need to start wearing my glasses clearly when I'm looking at stuff. The Braves just finished their game. They were never down, y'all. I don't know what the heck I was looking at. The Royals have 0. The Braves just won 6-0 over the Royals. I don't know why. Like, I almost feel like I was watching a different game. But anyway, just wanted to plug that in for anybody that's watching. It's probably like, what is she watching? Like, the Braves are not trailing. But anyway, they just won 6-0. Like you mentioned earlier, B, as we get ready to kind of wrap up here in the next few minutes, the draft is coming up. We got some top prospects, but none of them will be wearing number 10 if they go to the Lions, because Pacheco has claimed that number. They said it's very close to another gentleman over there. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Lions news.
I mean, it's a number. I haven't really been paying too much attention. We did get another offensive lineman from San Francisco, Ben Barch. He's a very good guard. He's actually offensive line, so he could play guard and tackle. He played tackle a little bit with San Francisco and guard. He started off with Jacksonville as a guard before he got traded to San Francisco. So he's good. He's a good offensive line. Kind of the way that the Lions are moving in my mind, they have gotten a lot of offensive linemen. And so I think in the draft, they're going to go after a defense. They're going to go after defense because they do need defense. And I don't know if they're going to go after a linebacker or if they're going to go back after an edge. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They got the 17th pick, so it's going to be slim pickings for a really, really good player at that point. So we'll see what Brad Holmes does. But I thought that was a very good addition to them for the offensive line, because they need a lot of help on the offensive line right now, which is amazing, because 2 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about that. But everybody retired or they got rid of everybody. So Penei Sewell is basically the only one on there that's actually started with the team from his rookie year and stayed on the team. So it'll be interesting.
Detroit just looked so good a couple seasons ago. What do you think it needs to happen this season for them to get back to that spot? And if they don't, do we think that, Coach Dan Campbell is now in trouble? Is he on the hot seat? There's no production after this season.
I don't think he's on a hot seat. I think Brad Holmes will be on a hot seat. There's been a lot of questions about his off seasons and getting free agents and making moves. And he's a very good draft guy. He does very good in the draft. He's going to have to do really good in the draft this year to even think about me even thinking they're going to go far in the playoffs, if they even get to the playoffs. They've downgraded, and a lot of players left, and they downgraded in those positions. Yeah, they got players to fill them, but they downgraded. Pacheco is no Montgomery. Pacheco's a downgrade to that position. So we did get Cade from you guys. And he's elevated over what we had last year, which was Glasgow, but he's not he's not Ragnow. Ragnow was like the best center, one of the top 2 best centers in the league before he retired. So there's a lot of offensive line shifting that's got to go on. They're going to make Jahmyr Gibbs carry a whole bunch this year. I don't know how that's going to wear on that young man because running backs don't last long in this league before they start getting injuries. And that's one thing that's a fear factor for me. If you continue to put carries on him and he's not used to getting all that wear and tear, and he's not a running back that really runs through tackles. That's what Monty was for. He usually runs to the outside or in between the guard and the tackle. He don't usually run through the center and the guard. So we got to see how that takes toll on him. There's a lot of things that are going on with the Lions right now. That's why I call them the wait and see team.
Wow. Well, hopefully you guys will be able to come up in the draft. Of course, recent mock drafts have Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winner, locked in as the number 1 overall pick to the Raiders. Mm-hmm. Other names skyrocketed include Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. He's projected to go number 3 to Arizona. And of course, the Ducks, Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq. He's projected also to go. Proposed rule changes. The competition committee has submitted 5 proposals to be voted on next week, including permitting teams to declare an onside kick at any time, as if this all gets looped in with the draft. They are also looking at rule changes after the draft, allowing teams to trade draft picks up to 5 years into the future. This was proposed by the Browns, and correcting clear and obvious officiating misses from the league office in the event of a referee work stoppage. So they're predicting, so you guys remember years ago, there was an NFL strike. There was a strike. There's been a strike in every sport at some point. At least I can remember. You probably do too, B. Now they're saying a referee work stoppage. I guess the refs are, they've been thrown under the bus a lot. I mean, there's been,
rightly so,
that have been coming out. Yes. And, I know there's people personally that I know that are related to some that have probably heard my, complaints on air. And as a result, she did what she had to do. And, there is that, and that's fine. But right is right, wrong is wrong. And if it's a clear and obvious miss, fans see it. They replay for a reason. If you can see it as a fan, how can you, as a professional trained ref, even though they have careers outside the NFL, not see these clear and obvious officiating misses? So they are looking into all of that, because what you don't want to do is upset your fans, because then your fans stop supporting, and then that's your money and there's your revenue. And Roger Goodell is too attuned into expanding the NFL into every continent. So he definitely doesn't want to lose here at home in the United States, having those type of issues when he's trying to project everything abroad. Wrapping up our last few seconds here. We talked about Kyler Murray officially landing his 1-year prove-it deal. Tom Brady tried to make himself relevant by trying to say he's going to unretire, but people were like, look, dude, you have ownership and stakes in the Raiders. You are not allowed to come back in.
Well, the story on that was he asked the NFL what would happen if he said he wasn't going to unretire, but he just wanted to know what the stipulations of the rules were in that situation. And the NFL said, we don't like that. There's no rules really, but they said they don't like that. So he said, that's what he said. They don't like that. So.
Yes, and of course, Jalen Phillips, we got him from the Eagles that are going to my Panthers. And B, that's all we got right now. We got the last minute of this game, 74-87. Looks like Michigan will wrap this one up against Alabama. Join B and James and Jack in the morning for the debate show, and join me at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the legal score and shows throughout the entire, we have something 24/7 on the McGrath Podcast Network. Shout out to Miss Linda. We do this in honor of her husband, the late, great, our friend, producer, Mac. So thank you, everybody, for watching and tuning in. Have an amazing final weekend of March 2026, and we'll see you all when we see you. Good night.